The Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce and Associated Industries of Arkansas. The State Chamber AIA is the leading voice for business at the state capitol and serves as the primary business advocate on all issues affecting Arkansas employers. Our mission is to promote a pro-business, free enterprise agenda and prevent anti-business legislation, regulations, and rules. Now more than ever, business matters. Learn more at arkansasstatechamber.com.
Hello there, and welcome into the Capitol View App Extra right now on your cell phone. We're smaller than normal, but hopefully just as informative.
All right, we're going to play today. What was your big takeaway? What did you learn today, David? That's the game we're going to play in today's App Extra.
Yeah, it's not so much from today's show. I mean, as much as Mike Ross and John Bozeman, great to appear on the show, and I think the context and perspective they provide is something that voters certainly want to hear from. Really, when I kind of look at the week, it's the idea that anything that seems random or I guess non-orchestrated is the best way to put it. When you look at, Cotton announces for Senate last week, and then just all these orchestrated pieces come right after it. So there's almost nothing that's not well orchestrated, which I guess is kind of a no-duh moment when it comes to politics.
Welcome to
I know, but it's still it's everything is as predictable as maybe you'd expect. And you know what? If you're on message for a campaign, that's what you want. You want everything to just kind of line up a certain way. But very few surprises, I guess, is the way to go at this point.
Yeah. Well, my big takeaway today is that despite Democrats not wanting health care to be a dominant issue in the 2014 elections, it is going to be a dominant issue at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level. It's going to keep getting brought up. And it's interesting to see the dynamics of how it plays out, because I think at the federal level, you've got the health care law and potentially how Mark Pryor voted on that being a huge factor in his race, whereas I think at the governor's level, where you got the Mike Ross having to defend that vote and defend his vote against Obamacare, that's a completely different dynamic. And it plays out differently at the state level than I think it does at the federal level. So I'd be very curious to kind of watch that unfold over the next couple of months and how Republicans try to play that more against Mike Ross. He can come back just as strong in saying that he voted against Obamacare as they can come as strong at him and say that he was this vote on this committee that helped trigger Obamacare.
Right. How closely will voters pay attention to health care as it relates to the governor's race versus the Senate race? Because obviously the Senate race, that's what they're up there in Washington to do, is to vote on things like that. Governor's race, I don't know.
Well, but look at it. Mike Ross can look in a camera and say, I voted against Obamacare. And by being able to do that, he's sending a completely contradictory message to what the Republicans may send his way, in that he voted to enable Obamacare. So that's going to confuse voters, and it is going to make voters go, I got to figure out who's right and who's wrong on this issue. And I think that's where you're going to see a little bit more homework done at the governor's level, whereas Mark Pryor has already embraced his vote on the federal health care law, says it's good, is defending it, looking for ways to show that it's working in the right direction. It's two completely different dynamics. It's going to be interesting to watch it play out.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll switch over, at least in the governor's race. I mean, obviously health care will be a race, but it's like, how do I get a job if I'm a voter? What can you do for economic development? That's what I think you're going to see. Hutchinson's already talked about his tax plan. I think eventually we're going to hear more from Ross on that front. So that's what drives voters, right?
Healthcare is the big negative, though, in that governor's race.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I agree with that.
All right, that's all for this Capitol View Web Extra for this week.
Yeah, and if you have ideas about what you'd like to see in the App Extra, please tweet at us at Roby Brock and at Goins and at KARK Capitol View. We will check that, and we'll add that in, because we really want this to be, as it says, something extra that really enhances your day, your political knowledge, and hopefully enjoy it. Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.